Ladies and gentlemen, we'll start shortly. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Foreign Correspondent Club of Thailand. My name is Panu Wongchun. I'm a senior reporter at Reuters and also the former president of the FCCT. I would like to welcome all of you to the Foreign Correspondent Club on our panel discussion, What Happened in the Thai Election and Expert Views. Much has been written about the significant and political consequences of Thailand's national vote on May 14th. But tonight we are here to look at the actual vote, the numbers, the breakdown, voting patterns and trends in one of the most closely tracked polls the country has ever held. The final outcome will not be finalized possibly for the next 60 days, but the campaign period as well as the voting patterns and conduct of the poll are being closely tracked. The International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, or International IDEA, and the Foreign Correspondent Club of Thailand are pleased to host this panel discussion with expert observers and analysts to review the lead up to and the aftermath of the poll. This event offers a rare opportunity to hear directly from those involved in or analyzing the country's first comprehensive nationwide independent vote tally, as well as legal experts and analysts who will share their findings and their analysis of the local electoral environment. Participants both in person and online will be provided with the opportunity to ask questions to the panelists following the discussion. First, the club would like to thank International IDEA for co-sponsoring the event and helping to recruit the best panel of speakers, which includes Dr. Ladawan Tantiwataya Pitak of PNET, represented by who's the Secretary General of PNET, and secondly, Kun Rachapong Chamjirachai-kun, an advocacy officer and political specialist of iLaw, and of course Kun Adisak Limparatapkit, the head of the Watcher campaign and also head of the Nation news organization. And last but not least, Dr. Goto Maya, advisor to the Institute of Human Rights and Peace Studies at Mahidol University. But before we start, I would like to go first to Kunlina Rikila Tamang, the Director of Asia and the Pacific for International IDEA, just to say a few words.
Well, thank you, Panu, and many thanks to the legendary FCCT Bangkok for co-hosting, co-organizing this event, What Happened in Thai Elections, with us tonight. On behalf of International IDEA, wish to welcome you all on-site and online. It is very good to see so many old and new friends present here tonight. Yeah, my name is Lina Rikkila Tamang. I'm Director for Asia and the Pacific region at IDEA. Just a frequent visitor in this city, otherwise based in Canberra, Australia. And what a time it is to visit and witness the Thailand parliamentary elections. Historic in so many ways. We will no doubt hear some fascinating insights from this panel, but I think it is safe to say that we are witnessing some tectonic political and social shifts evidenced by the unprecedented voter behavior seen in this election. I should say at the outset that International IDEA is not observing these elections and never do as an organization. Instead, we train and advise, we provide guidelines and standards on how to observe elections. We are also signatory of both the Declaration of Principles for International Election Observation and the Declaration of Global Principles for Non-Partisan Election Observation and Monitoring by Citizen Organization. And as such, we actively promote and support the work of election observers, domestic and international, upholding these principles. And it is for this reason we have partnered with the FCCT in organizing this event tonight. The Declaration of Global Principles describes the processes monitored and conditions required for successful non-partisan elections monitoring by citizens, who can be considered as specialized human rights defenders focused on civil and political rights, central to achieving genuine elections. This event follows a similar one we had in Manila right after the Philippines elections almost exactly a year ago. Our intention is to provide a platform for international community and media to understand how the electoral process right up to the election day fared in the eyes of election observers who were on the ground interacting with the political parties, with the candidates, and with the voters. Earlier today, UNFREL, the Asian Network for Free Elections, had a press conference here at the FCCT and sharing their preliminary findings. And this evening, we are hearing from the independent Thai organizations engaged in observing and analyzing the elections from their very start. Obviously, these elections are not yet over, and they can be fully assessed and recommendations made once the complaints have been addressed and requests for recounts finalized and when the power has been transferred to the new government. But I would also like to thank our distinguished panelists for their willingness to be here today. Dr. Kotham, an old friend of IDEA, who has for decades tirelessly worked for credible and peaceful elections in Thailand, including successfully bringing together all political parties to agree on campaigning code of conduct under the auspices of the ECT. Dr. Ladawan from PNET, also an old friend of IDEA's and representing the pioneering generation of election observers from the 1990s, providing really an inspiration to a new generation of election observers. We have Kun Adisak, member of the media community that have formed an alliance of media organization called The Watchers, ensuring that the election results are accurately recorded and consolidated. And last but not least, Kun Ruchapong, representing ILO, who at the last minute had to sit in place of Kun Yingjip, who has been taken ill. As you may know, ILO is one of the initiators of the coalition of NGOs observing the elections called the People's Network to Monitor Elections. And thank you, Kun Panu, for facilitating this panel. I know these are busy times for you and for your team, and we are grateful for your moderation. We also extend our thanks to Gwen Robinson, who has been instrumental in the organization of this event, and many others with us, including several ones on the democratic struggle our friends in Myanmar enduring. And I think the change people have voted for here in Thailand is to have ramifications on democratic developments in Southeast Asia, hopefully also in Myanmar, and hopefully for the better. Wishing us all a very good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to go, we'd like to start straight away, and we'd like to go to Dr. Ladawan first on PNET. Can you tell us a little bit about what you see in this historic election, and from your point of view and your observation?
Thank you. Very grateful to be able to be here to share my point of view on this present election. I think this very exciting moment. Exciting for me and exciting for the people of Thailand, maybe the people of the world also, to see the change of Thailand. When we look back 4 years ago in 2019, we will see the disaster of the election management We heard a lot of news of rigging, irregulation, so many problems. Myself, I working for Election Commission for 15 years before my retirement. It's very extremely disappointed of the present Election Commission in organizing that 2019 election, general election, because things never happen. Things should not happen, has been happened, and it's very bad that have been happened. So you may wonder how that 2019 election up to this election, what change it made. I would say that from my point of view, from 2019 general election, after that, every year we have election. We have election of provincial administrative in 2020. After that, in 2021, we have municipal election, we have local administrative election, and then we have governor election. Throughout that years, there has been mobilizing effort from the civil society, from the media, from the people that would like to see the change, how we're going to overcome the problem of vote buying. I think vote buying, the rigging, the irregularity, the influence over the voter is a kind of vicious circle happened in Thailand for many years. I'm working for monitoring election almost 30 years. We try very hard how to overcome this obstacle. I have been talking with the voters. What we do, we never know the candidate. We never know the political party. They never talk to us. We never realize we don't have choice. We have to follow our leader. We have to follow. Okay, you give me money, I will give you vote, because we don't have choice. We have been discussing among the civil society, among the movement, and we feel that we just try to catch up vote buying, sending the evidence of vote buying to the election commission, and nothing happened. So I think we come up with another strategy. We think that we have to organize a platform for the people to question and raise the question, raise the problem to the candidate, to the political party, and see how they're going to respond. How the candidate, how the political party going to respond. And we make the choice in according to that. I'm working with the community council organization, which is established under the law. And they have about they have almost 99% of their council in every sub-district. We realize this problem. We have discussed, and we said that we have to create a platform. So we try during the provincial administrative organization, not very success. We try again at the municipal election. We try again at the Tambon administration. The last election at the governor, with the cooperation of, not with the cooperation, I may say it's also the initiative of Thai public, the Thai PBS. They organized a certain platform with the connecting of all the civil society network, maybe almost 100 of network that join. They come together with the issue and ask the candidate to respond. And I think this make change of the election of the governor, that the candidate had to respond to the people issue, to the people network. How are you going to solve our problem? Traffic, air pollution, garbage, every problem. How are you going to solve it? And not just the idea, but really how you're going to implement it, where you get the budget. Detail have to come out. And I think this change, the election, the governor election last year has extremely changed the thinking of how the candidate run the election. And I think we see it very clearly at the moment, how people reflect, how people respond to the candidate. I have been talking with the people Yes, I get the money. Yes, 300 baht, 500 baht. I went into the community and said, yes, this party, they are helping us. The leader also very good for us during the COVID. But we think maybe they will win, they will be the winner at this community. I surprised. At that constituency in Bangkok, the party that did not buy, we know that they did not give out the money. They win. And the winning is, I mean, this is the way we overcome the vicious circle that has been happened in Thailand long time ago. And I think this is the change that happened in Thailand. The way of thinking, the way of political party had to change the way of running campaign, the way of running into the power. They have to come up with the idea. They have to be very stable. They have to have the real member to helping them to work out how the party being strong. So we keep looking forward to see the future of the political party to be more establishment, to be more stronger. And we're looking forward that political in Thailand will be changed and changed for the better of the people. I think I spent the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dawan. Thank you for your observation. I think I want to actually change it a bit. I want to go next to Kun Adisak because, on the election night, I myself and I'm sure many of you in this room were watching the, TV and following the results. And a lot of the very quick results comes from Kun Adisak and his network of volunteers. This is a media first. Is it the first time, Kun Adisak, or second time? You did it also in governor's election, Bangkok governor's election. Yeah. So maybe can you tell us a little bit about this? I mean, this is the first time that the media on a national level, join hand and have this network. And you can see that the result is actually quite accurate, and much quicker than the election commission. Please, Kun Adisak, you have the floor, ครับ
ก็ขออภัยที่ต้องพูดภาษาไทยจะสื่อสารได้ดีกว่านะครับเดี๋ยวคุณเหมียวจะช่วยแปลให้แนวคิดในเรื่องของการรวบรวมเครือข่ายหลายส่วนเข้ามาเพื่อทำงานในการรายงานคะแนนเลือกตั้งครั้งนี้เนี่ยมาจากเลือกตั้งเมื่อ4 ปีที่แล้วที่ทุกคนจะทราบว่าคะแนนที่เข้ามาที่รายงานผ่านสื่อโทรทัศน์สื่อออนไลน์เนี่ยก็มีการระบบล้มเหลวคะแนนขึ้นลงตลอดเวลาจนทำให้ เกิดความไม่น่าเชื่อถือของรายงานที่คะแนนเข้ามาทางสื่อเองเนี่ยก็จริงๆก่อนหน้านี้เมื่อเลือกตั้งก่อนนั้นก็เคยทำรายงานผลคะแนนแบบเรียลไทม์อยู่แล้วแต่สเกลมันจะเล็กหน่อยเพราะว่าตอนนั้นมีโทรทัศน์อยู่แค่6 ช่องแต่ปัจจุบันมีโทรทัศน์อยู่15 ช่อง20 ช่องเพราะฉะนั้นก็ทุกคนก็เลยมาลงขันกันให้คุณเหมียวเชิญ
Apology that I will use Thai language for these deliveries. Actually, the media network collaboration is nothing new in Thailand, but this collaboration in the general election is inspired by our effort 4 years ago, where traditional media like television and online media have reported real-time vote counting, but the result by the media at that time was not so stable. Therefore, people also questioned about the credibility of the vote countings. And at the time when we start the media real-time vote counting reporting, there were only 6 media channels, but these days we have about 15 to 20 media channels.
เลือกตั้งเมื่อ4 ปีที่แล้วทางสื่อจริงๆมีความร่วมมือกับทางคณะกรรมการการเลือกตั้งแต่ทั้งหมดเนี่ยให้คณะกรรมการการเลือกตั้งทำผ่านแอปพลิเคชันที่เรียกว่า Rapid Report โดยสื่อแค่ Observer เท่านั้นเองไม่ได้มีการรวบรวมอาสาสมัครที่จะทำเองในการเลือกตั้งผู้ว่ากทม.เมื่อปีที่แล้วก็เลยมีการคุยกันในกลุ่มของสมาคมทีวีดิจิทัล สมาคมผู้ผลิตข่าวออนไลน์ แล้วก็สื่ออิสระเป็นส่วนใหญ่ประมาณสัก30 กว่า News Agency ก็ได้ข้อสรุปว่าไม่ควรที่จะไปพึ่งพากกต.เพราะว่าไม่มีความน่าไว้วางใจเลยก็ต้องทำเองก็เลยลงขันเงินทุกสื่อ30 กว่าสื่อช่วยกันลงทุนเงินเพื่อที่จะพัฒนาแอปพลิเคชันในการรายงานเรียกว่ารายงานเป็น2แบบคือ Quick Count คือ Real Time Report กับที่เป็น Final Score ก็คือ Real Time ก็คือนับตามที่ขานคะแนนแล้วก็ Final Score คือรวมคะแนนครั้งที่แล้วครั้งเลือกตั้งผู้ว่ากทม.ก็พบว่าแอปพลิเคชันที่พัฒนาขึ้นมาเองของสมาคมทีวีดิจิทัลเนี่ยใช้ได้ดีแต่ปัญหาคือจำนวนอาสาสมัครไม่เพียงพอเพราะตั้งเป้าไว้อาสาสมัครประมาณ 2,500 คนจะเพื่อ cover ประมาณสัก 8,000 หน่วยเลือกตั้งก็คือ1คนต่อประมาณสัก3หรือ4หน่วยเลือกตั้งแต่ได้อาสาสมัครแค่ประมาณ1,000 กว่าคนเอง
So we start this election counting report from the Bangkok governor's election. Earlier 4 years ago, the media's organization and agency also did the collaboration with the election committees to do the vote counting report using the election committee's rapid reports application. At that time, we were not collecting the information ourselves, but media act as observers in the polling booths. However, this time during the Bangkok governor's election, the digital TV and online media providers, I think about 30 new agencies, decided that the trustworthiness of the election committee was questionable. Therefore, they decided to pool the resources and funding in order to prepare the real-time quick counting application. So the application can act twofold. The first one is the quick counting. You get the result as you go. And the second one is the final score. So during the Bangkok governor's election, our digital TV application is functioning well, but the problem was the volunteer. We probably need about 2,500 volunteers. Each volunteer will cover about 3 to 4 polling booths. But the actual number of volunteers who applied for the vote counting was only 1,000.
ในการเลือกตั้งครั้งนี้เนี่ยทางสมาคมทีวีดิจิทัลกับสมาคมผู้ผลิตข่าวออนไลน์ได้เริ่มต้นคุยกันประมาณสัก6 เดือนล่วงหน้าที่จะวางแผนว่าจะทำยังไงที่จะหาอาสาสมัครให้ cover ทั้ง 95,000 หน่วยเลือกตั้งครั้งแรกเลยพวกเราก็ไม่ได้ทะเยอทะยานมากที่จะให้ cover ทั้งหมดคิดว่าประมาณสัก 30% ของหน่วยเลือกตั้งน่าจะ represent ได้แต่เมื่อได้คุยกับทางไอรอแล้วก็พันธมิตรหลายส่วนก็มีแนวคิดร่วมกันว่าเมื่อกกต.ไม่มีประสิทธิภาพในการทำบริหารจัดการเรื่องการรายงานผลคะแนนแล้วก็ไม่มีการทำเรื่องแอปพลิเคชันในการรายงานแบบ real time ทางสื่อกับทางไอรอก็คิดว่าต้องจับมือกันก็ตั้งเป้าว่าจะต้องหาอาสาสมัคร 100,000 คนเพื่อ cover 1 หน่วยเลือกตั้งต่อ 1 คนก็เป็นที่มาของการรวมตัวกันของหลายองค์กรครับ
In 2023 election, the digital media, TV and the online media agency decided that we should cover about 30% of the polling booths. There are actually like 95,000 polling stations. We think that 30% would be representative so that we can get information because the election committee did not prepare the real-time vote counting application. But after we talk to other alliance, for example, ILAWs, we consider that if the election commission do not prepare the application for real-time vote counting, then the media and ILAW, as well as our other partners, have to do it ourselves, and it will require about 100,000 volunteers, covering one volunteer per one voting booth.
หน้าที่ของสมาคมสื่อคือของทางมีเดียเนี่ยสิ่งที่เราต้องการที่สุดคือผลการนับคะแนนที่เร็วที่สุดนั่นคือหลังปิดหีบเลือกตั้ง 5 โมงเย็นประมาณสัก 15 นาทีที่จะเริ่มมีการนับคะแนนควรที่จะรายงานผ่านหน้าจอทีวีหรือทางเว็บไซต์ของสำนักข่าวต่างๆที่ร่วมกันก็คิดว่าตอนที่คุยกับทางไอลอเนี่ยทางคุณยิ่งชีพผู้อำนวยการของไอลอก็ได้มีความเห็นร่วมกันว่าต่างคนต่างทำหน้าที่คือมีเดียก็ทำหน้าที่ในการรายงานคะแนนส่วนไอลอก็นำหน้าที่ในการตรวจสอบการเลือกตั้งเป็นหลักโดยที่จะเขียนโปรแกรมหลังบ้านเพื่อจะเชื่อมโยงอาสาสมัครในการทำงานร่วมกันเพื่อไปถึงเป้าหมายของการรับสมัครอาสาสมัครให้ได้ 100,000 คนที่จะ cover ให้มากที่สุดตอนนั้นเราตั้งไว้ 100,000 แต่ก็คิดว่าไม่ถึงคิดว่าคงไม่ได้มากเท่าไหร่เพราะได้ถามจากทางไอรอว่าเมื่อปี 4 ปีที่แล้วได้อาสาสมัครเท่าไหร่ทางคุณยิ่งชีพของไอรอบอกผมว่าได้ประมาณสัก 4,000 คนทั่วประเทศแต่สื่อเองไม่ได้มีประสบการณ์เรื่องการรับสมัครอาสาสมัครเพราะนั้นก็เลยคุยกันว่าเราช่วยกันหาอาสาสมัครทางไอรอเป็นอาสาสมัครแบบออร์แกนิกส่วนสื่อก็หาอาสาสมัครแบบที่เป็นจัดตั้งก็คือจากองค์กรต่างๆ
And at the time, the media agencies and our media association decided we need the rapid counting result. So therefore, the report should trigger in within 15 minutes after the polling was closed. And there will be a report from the media in the website or our news agencies. And I talked to Ying Ship, and he said that the ILAW would prepare the support system to inspect the vote counting and connect the volunteer to observe the vote counting and also recruit the volunteers. And our media organization will do the media coverage. As representative from the media agency and organization, we don't have any experience recruiting volunteers, and we didn't think that we can get 100,000 volunteers, whereas ILAW have previous experience in recruiting about 4,000 volunteers nationwide.
ทางสมาคมทีวีดิจิทัลก็เลยคิดว่าจะต้องหาเครือข่ายพันธมิตรนอกจากสมาคมทีวีดิจิทัลสมาคมผู้ผลิตข่าวออนไลน์เราก็นึกถึงสมาคมองค์กรปกครองส่วนท้องถิ่น3สมาคมก็คือทางอบต.องค์การบริหารส่วนตำบลองค์การบริหารส่วนจังหวัดเทศบาลซึ่งทั้ง3สมาคมเนี่ยก็จะมีเครือข่าย cover ทุกหมู่บ้านในประเทศไทยแล้วอีกส่วนหนึ่งก็ได้คุยกับพรรคการเมืองหลายพรรคที่จะใช้อาสาสมัครร่วมกันซึ่งพรรคการเมืองตามปกติก็จะมีคนไปประจำคอยจับตาดูการนับคะแนนทุกครั้งอยู่แล้วนะก็ร่วมมือกันโดยสมาคมทีวีดิจิทัลก็ไม่ได้มีเงินในการว่าจ้างอาสาสมัครอะไรก็คือใช้วิธีในการแลกเปลี่ยน information แลกเปลี่ยนข้อมูลกันคือสื่อสมาคมสื่อเนี่ยมีระบบในการเชื่อมโยงข้อมูลจากถังข้อมูลกลางไปกับสื่อที่ร่วมกันประมาณ38สำนักข่าวก็จะ provide API ให้กับองค์กรที่มาร่วมคือพรรคการเมืองพรรคซึ่งได้คุยหลายพรรคนะได้คุยสัก5-6 พรรคแต่ได้ความร่วมมือจริงๆประมาณแค่สัก3 พรรคก็คือพรรคเพื่อไทยก้าวไกลไทยสร้างไทยนิดหน่อยรวมไทยสร้างชาตินิดหน่อยก็ แลกเปลี่ยนข้อมูลเพื่อให้พวกเขาได้คะแนนไปมอนิเตอร์ทั้ง 400 เขตด้วยเพราะว่าแต่ละพรรคเนี่ยไม่สามารถที่จะลงอาสาสมัครครบทั้งหมดแต่ก็ในที่สุดก็มีปัญหาก็คือทางกกต.ไปนับในเรื่องของค่าใช้จ่ายของเจ้าหน้าที่ประจำหน่วยเลือกตั้งเป็นของพรรคการเมืองไม่ได้เป็นของผู้สมัครผมเลยค่อนข้างจะมีปัญหาอยู่ฮะ
At the time, the recruitment for the volunteer for ILAW was organic. Like the people who like to volunteer register at the application. But our media organization, we organize our volunteer from different resources. We know that all the media agency do not have enough people to cover all the polling booth we wanted. So we work with the local administrative organization from the provincial level, sub-provincial level, so that we can reach up to the villages. And we also pool resources and observers from political parties using our information sharing database and API. Among 38 agencies, we have the central API system and we share this system to political parties. I approached like 15 to 16 political parties, but only 3 parties decided to participate in asking their observer to provide us information, namely the Move Forward Party, Thai Sang Thai parties, and Pheu Thai parties. Because all the political party observer cannot also cover all of the polling station. And the problem is the election commission count these expenses as the political party's expenses. So this is like also included in the expenditures cap for the campaign expenditures.
อาสาสมัครที่อยู่หน้าหน่วยเลือกตั้งก็จะเป็นคนรายงานเข้ามาในแอปพลิเคชันที่เขียนรวมกันแล้วความร่วมมืออีกอันหนึ่งก็คือความร่วมมือกับสถาบันการศึกษาคือมหาวิทยาลัยหลักที่ร่วมทำงานครั้งนี้ก็คือมหาวิทยาลัยศรีปทุมที่ใช้เป็นวอลลุ่มของวันเลือกตั้งที่จะคอยตรวจสอบคะแนนที่เข้ามาจากอาสาสมัครทั้งหมดแล้วก็มหาวิทยาลัยในภูมิภาคในจังหวัดต่างๆที่เป็นหัวหน้าเขตที่คอยดูแลอาสาสมัครในแต่ละเขตเนี่ยจะหาอาสาสมัครประมาณ50 ถึง 100 คนเพื่อกระจายลงไปในหน่วยเลือกตั้งในเขตเลือกตั้งนึงเนี่ยจะมีหน่วยเลือกตั้งประมาณสัก200เราคิดว่าเรา cover ได้สักครึ่งหนึ่งหรือประมาณสัก 30% หรือครึ่งหนึ่งโดยเลือกหน่วยที่มีการแข่งขันสูงเพื่อให้การรายงานเป็นที่สนใจสำหรับสื่อโดยทั่วไปซึ่งก็ได้รับความร่วมมือพอสมควรจากมหาวิทยาลัยต่างๆนะทั้งศรีปทุมธุรกิจบัณฑิตราชภัฏราชมงคลในต่างจังหวัดต่างๆพวกนี้ก็ร่วมกันในการบริหารอาสาสมัครที่อยู่หน้าหน่วยเลือกตั้ง
The volunteers fill out the vote counting information to our application, and we also work with different universities. For example, Sri Patum University, we serve as a monitoring centers to filter information from the volunteers. We also work with regional universities because we need to kind of like deploy about 30 to 100 volunteers in each like polling district to cover like about 200 polling stations. We think that 30% would be representative, but we also highlight on the area with high competitiveness because we need to provide media worthiness. Thanks to the collaboration from Thurakit Bandit Rajapat University and Rajmongkol University, we can complete the network for like vote counting system.
คราวนี้ก็มาเรื่องของเงินค่าใช้จ่ายที่ต้องใช้ในโครงการก็เป็นการลงขันจาก38สำนักโดยแบ่งเป็นสื่อทีวีสื่อหนังสือพิมพ์สื่อออนไลน์ก็ช่วยกันลงขันตามสัดส่วนของการใช้ของข้อมูลลงไปแต่ว่าเงินก็ยังไม่พอนะเงินยังไม่พอได้ประมาณสักครึ่งหนึ่งของที่ต้องจำเป็นต้องใช้ก็เลยคุยกับทางสมาคมฟินเทคไทย ให้ช่วยทำ crowdfunding เงินที่จะเข้ามาใช้ในโครงการนี้ได้จำนวนหนึ่งก็ recover ได้หมดนะครับอันนี้ก็เป็นหลักในการทำงานก็คือว่ามีทั้งสถาบันการศึกษาสมาคมองค์กรปกครองส่วนท้องถิ่นสถาบันการศึกษาที่ร่วมกันในครั้งนี้
The expenses for the monitoring we pull from 38 media agency, for example, television channels, newspaper, online media agency, but that cover only 50% of what we needed. The rest of the funding, we asked the FinTech Thai Association to conduct the crowdfunding platform to cover the rest of the expense. And with collaboration from other organizations like local administrative organizations and universities to provide other resources.
ก็ผมสรุปอย่างนี้การที่เราทำแบบนี้ไม่ได้คิดว่าจะ cover ได้ทั้ง95,000 หน่วยเลือกตั้งแต่มันได้ทำให้กกต.คณะกรรมการการเลือกตั้งมีการปรับตัวจากเดิมที่จะบอกว่าผลจะเปิดเผยผลการนับคะแนน5 วันตอนหลังก็เลื่อนมาเป็น5 ทุ่ม4 ทุ่ม3 ทุ่มก็เป็นการเพชเชอร์กกต.จนในที่สุดกกต.ยอมที่จะเปิด API ให้สมาคมสื่อ access เข้าไปในระบบการรวมคะแนนของกกต.ตอน 6 โมงครึ่งเพราะฉะนั้นในช่วงของตั้งแต่ปิดหีบมา5 โมงเย็นจนถึงประมาณสัก2 ทุ่มทุกท่านจะเห็นคะแนนที่ปรากฏอยู่ในหน้าจอในสื่อในทีวีในออนไลน์ทั้งหลายที่เข้ามาจากทั่วประเทศโดยเฉพาะยิ่งในกทม.อันนั้นมาจากอาสาสมัครที่ทำแบบเรียลไทม์เพื่อที่จะได้รายงานก่อนถ้ารอกกต.ก็จะไม่รู้ว่าเมื่อไหร่จะมาแต่ก็ช่วยกดดันให้กกต.เนี่ยเปิดท่อเปิด API ให้เราเชื่อมต่อได้และอันนี้ก็ช่วยจะเห็นว่าทุกท่านจะเห็นว่าคะแนนที่เข้ามาเนี่ยในช่วงต้นเนี่ยบ่งชี้ได้เลยว่าพรรคก้าวไกลชนะเลือกตั้งแน่นอนอันนี้เพราะว่าคือพวกเราก็วางแผนว่าเลือกเขตเมื่อรีซอสน้อยรีซอสไม่เพียงพอก็ต้องเลือกเขตที่มีการแข่งขันสูงแล้วเป็นตัวชี้การเลือกตั้งเช่นกรุงเทพมหานครปริมณฑลจังหวัดที่แข่งขันสูงชลบุรีเชียงใหม่ขอนแก่นโคราชจังหวัดในภาคใต้ภูเก็ตเพราะฉะนั้นคะแนนพวกนี้จะเห็นว่าช่วงแรกพรรคก้าวไกลจะได้คะแนนมากกว่าพรรคเพื่อไทยเยอะค่อนข้างเยอะแต่พอคะแนนในต่างจังหวัดที่กกต.เข้ารายงานเข้ามามันก็จะมาเชื่อมต่อกันพอดีในช่วงประมาณสัก3 ทุ่ม
In conclusion, despite we cannot cover all of the 95,000 polling booths, but it pressured the election commission to release the information faster. First, they said they will release the vote counting within 5 days, and then they changed it to like earlier, like from 10 p.m. to like 9 p.m. This pressure from the media and the monitoring system that we implemented finally allowed the election committees to have the media association to access the API at 6 p.m. that day on to access the official vote counting information. But we have more information triggered in first from Bangkok earlier because we cannot wait for the election commission. So you can observe that the early counting, because we do have limited resources, we decided to go to the area with the deciding factor. For example, Bangkok, other provinces surrounding Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Chonburi, Khon Kaen, Nakhon Ratchasima, and Phuket. And it clearly showed that the Move Forward Party have won the election. Earlier, you can see the massive gap between like the Move Forward parties and other parties, but as more information from the election committee trickle in at 9 p.m., we can see like closer and more accurate results reflecting the reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Andisak. So basically we have a broad picture, just because of the translation, and basically we have a broad picture of the media work that put a lot of pressure on the Election Commission on the evening. Of course, the earlier goal, lofty goal of having 100,000 volunteers, we did not reach quite there, but it allows a really quick result rollout on the night by 9 o'clock. All the mainstream media, we was, local Thai media, we're seeing very high lead from Move Forward, and this is because the way that the media deployed their network of volunteers. Anyway, we can come back to this. I would like to go next to Kun Ruchapong from iLaw. Of course, on the other side of this coin of volunteers and observation is the work of the civil society group, especially iLaw, from not only the election day, but also the early election day, the week before. There was a lot of observation, there was a lot of mistakes, there was a lot of errors. Can you give us a little bit about, a summary of what iLaw's seen during the early votes and on election day?
Okay, so let me start with the magic word. The people have spoken in these elections. Speaking, they did to the ballots, but also they also took action to ensure that the votes, every vote counts. These elections, I think, is a win for, not only a win for the pro-democracy parties, but it's also a win for the civic campaigns, the civil participation, the public participations that initiate from the people, from the below, and aim to strengthen democracies. As for iLaw, we the NGO monitoring elections. We have published reports on the chaos 4 years ago, and this time we collaborate with other civil society organizations and as well as the Thai activists to organize the election observation campaign. We call it the vote62.com. So basically, we ask the Thai people, the normal Thai citizens, not normal Thai voters, even students who may even have the right to vote yet, to go to polling stations after the poll closes at 5 p.m., observe the counting process, correct the officials if they're wrong, and then take the pictures of the result back and send it back to our website. So if there are any report of irregularities, we could at least validate the result. To just a brief of 4 years ago, 4 years ago was, to say that 4 years ago was a chaos, maybe even an understatement. I think for unexplainable reasons, the result fluctuated during the election days. So logically, the result, if they're going up, they should be up and not down, but then just some slump and then it go up again. So this happened for unexplainable reasons, and the next morning saw 1/3 of MP candidates have their votes reduced, have their tallies reduced for unexplainable reason yet again. So it is not so surprised that the people did not seem to trust the ECT this time around. So what we realized from the lesson we learned from the 2019 is that we don't have the result from the polling stations. The ECT did not release the result from each polling stations. They only released the result from the district. So we don't have any way to prove that the result that they announced days later is correct or not. So that's why we have this vote62.com. We actually did this 4 years ago, but we did not pay any attention to it because we don't think that there might be this kind of problems. So now we dedicated all of manpower, all of now networks, trying to mobilize every people to join this vote62.com. And this time is so different because the level of enthusiasm the people have shown. We received at least 400, okay, sorry. This is the pictures of the people observing the elections. This is in the middle of the rain. They bring their own chairs, they bring their own raincoat, they have their own umbrellas. Some of them even have flashlight, the hands holding the phones, ready to take pictures, or even if they have to challenge the officials, they're ready to search for the law and referencing that to the officials. This is the level of enthusiasm that we see in these elections. This is what happened at midnight in Bang Plat, where there's a problem. There was contested result. People stay until midnight and they take pictures and they send it back to us to verify the result. So, in all, and this is the vote tabulation board that they have to take the picture back to us. This is what we lack in 2019. We don't have these pictures, and we cannot validate the result. So, all in all, we have at least 12 million constituency ballots sent it back to us. So, and 9 party list ballots. We received 4,500,000 pictures to our Vote 62 website. That is from more than 30,000 polling stations, which is about one-third of, about 30% of all polling stations in Thailand. And if we estimate that there were at least 3 people observing in each polling station that among the 30,000, we could argue that at least 100,000 people joined our campaign. All day we receive a lot of messages. I myself answer a lot of phone calls from very active citizens. What is so impressive is that many of our volunteers are elderly. Some are students who were not even eligible to vote. There was a story like a 70-year-old woman that messaged back to us saying that this is her first time doing this and she wants to leave something behind in this world. And somehow her daughter managed to steal her iPad and message back to us and tell us how enthusiastic her mom is in these elections. So there are people doing their own videos, promoting our observation campaign on TikTok. There are people kind of like Facebook Live, the counting process, and thousands of people would join in that live and say, this is wrong, rah, rah, something like that. So it's impressive. I myself very impressed. People did their own research, and they were able to argue and correct the officials. And I want to say as a disclaimer is that we sympathize with the officials, with the local officials, because they have to wake up about like 3 a.m., set the polling station, set up the polling stations to prepare to open the polling station by like 8 a.m. They have to stay until like midnight until the whole process is over. So mistake could happen. So that's why we, as the volunteer, we could go and help them to work and to ensure that every vote counts. So from the time the poll closed at 5 p.m. to about 8 a.m., the results from ECT were coming in, I have to say, very slowly, but our report was quicker. So this is the website of our report. This is entirely reported by normal Thai citizens. The ECT promised to release 90% of the result at 11 p.m., but by 10 p.m. Only 40% of the result were coming in. So at midnight, only about 80% of the result were reported in the ECT website. The pace, I have to say, is as low as 4 years ago, but this time we have people lining up in front of the polling stations. So that's the good thing about these elections. Similarly, also unlike 2019, because we had volunteers, we were able to learn the mistake made by the local officials. Some documents containing necessary information were missing. Observers were refused entry or filming the counting process, and some of the tallies are wrong. But people corrected them in time, and we could estimate that a lot of votes were saved from these volunteers. So I think it is fair to express my thanks to volunteers for every Thai citizens. I think many of you might go observe Thai elections nearby your residence, and you might encounter some of our volunteers. We we don't know every one of them because there were 100,000 of them, but they were very, very active citizens. What we did was we only provide platform and information on what they can do, on what they cannot do to the Thai citizens. But it's the Thai people with a sense of democracies that makes this happen. So this is not to say that the ECT has done a good job. They refused to release the information of the location of polling stations nationwide, making our life more difficult. We have to ask people to filling out their own polling stations, so in order to have all the name of the polling stations. The local officials definitely were not provided with sufficient trainings. We could see that on the early voting days where officials put down the wrong zip code on the envelopes. They also report that the Thai Postal Service will not be able to deliver at least 300,000 envelopes due to the handwriting of the local officials that's not readable. And this fact was later contested by the ECT, saying that only 10,000 envelopes were affected, but affected nonetheless. Right now we also have many cases of contested result in many provinces. For example, in the 10th district of Chonburi, where there were about 5,000 votes counted more than casted. The case is now in the ECT for the recount, so it's up to them to order the recount. And if you follow the ECT Facebook, they set up an anti-fake news centers. I have to say that it has done very little to show up the public trust for the ECT, because apart from a big headline calling the information fake and a threat of legal actions, it contained little explanation as to why the information was fake in the first place. Given the low trust among the public, the aggressive natures, the stance of the ECT in these anti-fake news centers does little help to gain the public trust. In the case where the officials writing down the wrong zip code, the ECT did not provide the exact numbers of the problematic ballots and the process of how they amend the issues. So I have to say that the key things to improve for the ECT is still accountability and transparencies. I think the Thai people now are so energized by the direct experience with the democratic process, especially when they have to stay until midnight to watch the counting process, and know that this is a hard-earned victory for them. And this is why I think this explains the anger that is now exploding after learning that the senators refused to vote with the majorities, the clear majorities. So the next step for us is to validate the information we have and urge the ECT to release the official result as fast as possible, so that the process of democratically forming the government could proceed properly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So there you have it. The side from the civil society, this time scrutinizing, of course, sort of the validity of the vote and possible fraud, and remain to be seen how the ECT will react to these actions and reports, of course. And it is very helpful to us reporters. Actually, both ILO and the Media Alliance have been very helpful to us, and a refreshing change to observing Thai election. So lastly, I want to go to Ajahn Kothom for his insight into sort of the election, sort of, things leading up to the election and sort of looking ahead after this historic result, after the people have spoken. Ajahn Kothom, are we ready to start, sir?
Start.
I'm stuck with
เดี๋ยวแป๊บนึงนะครับ
technologies.
We have some technical difficulties apparently.
But okay, first, do you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I have prepared a presentation in 3 parts. Don't worry, it will not be too long. The first part is about before the election day. A coalition of NGOs succeeded in inviting about 29 political parties to sign 2 important documents. We have signing ceremonies attended by the media and well covered, and there were few witnesses as well. The first document is the Code of Conduct for Electoral Campaign. Not to use violence, not to incite hatred and so on. But importantly, there were 2 annexes. Though I would like it to be connected to my computer, but it doesn't work, so I don't know how to do. One of the annex is about the Code of Conduct on the use of social media. This is an innovation for some aspect. The second annex is about, I cannot remember exactly the title, but nice campaign for everyone, including gender, LGBT and so on, you see, as well. So the second annex also is an innovation. And after the signing of the Code of Conduct, the political parties also signed another important document, namely, they pledge what they will do after the election. First, they agree to form only majority government. It means that they will not get along with the senators to have the necessary votes. First, they will have the majority of House members, and then later, let's see. Also, they pledge to integrate their policies. This is what they are doing today at this time. Okay. It came on the screen. Thank you. Second, they pledge to consolidate their or integrate their policies before going on to form the coalition. The third pledge, there are many more, but the third, I will stop at that, saying that they will, as soon as possible, seek a referendum leading to a new drafting, a new constitution be drafted. Okay, this is before election day. Election proper. I would like to explain a little bit about the system we use that I named as mixed members parallel system. This system was used in 2001, and then in between we had 2 more constitutions and we changed the system. The last one we used was in 2019 and could be called mixed member proportional system, not parallel but proportional, with a lot of confusion during the compilation or decision to say who is winning, who was losing. Okay, this is the system. What I would like to give you as a remark is that this is the first time that a party not affiliated with Thaksin Shinawatra that won the election. The election since 2001, you see, the general elections were won by Thaksin camp, so to speak. This time it's we call it move forward or ก้าวไกล who won this election. So I shall say, you see, that few decades ago, the election system was what I call pork barrel system. You see, Thaksin innovated what I would call policy-oriented campaign, and he was successful. So he won successive general election. But this time around, the wind of change came, and parties still stick with the old method. They campaign about giving more and more to the voters. I will give you this advantage. I will raise the minimum wage. I will give a pension to elders. I will take care of the handicapped. So many promises based on what we call mouth. Where is mouth? Mouth and stomach. This is a Thai expression. It means some very concrete that you can eat. An edible policy. But the change say no, this time we want to be based more on ideology. We want democracy. We want political reform. Only Move Forward Party realized that and took the challenge, a little bit different from all other parties. And this was the winning strategy, because you see the use of social media as well as the sentiments of the youth that who were fed up with the rhetoric of the conservative. They took power about 9 years ago, saying that they will start a reform. They wrote many articles in the constitution that they will do this kind of reform with next to zero achievement. So, young people say, we need reform. Oh, sorry, not this one, this one. I will give you a picture of the result. I make a distinction between party list result and district vote. Party list, sorry, I would like to stand. You can notice how many votes, you see. Forward Party 40 million, Pheu Thai only 10.8, big difference, and so on. And the third party 4.7, fourth party 1.1 million. The others did not even get, some get only 500,000. You can see, that this is a landslide. Because Pheu Thai always say that they will achieve a landslide, but they were taken over by Move Forward. Unexpectedly, they didn't announce any landslide, they just campaigned. But the results were in their favor. So, there is a strange phenomena. The strange phenomena is that if you look at those, what shall I say, winner of the party list, there are 6 winners who coming from 6 different parties, completely unknown. I wonder why they won. I found out that they belong to political parties who draw a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's it. If you are lucky enough in drawing the number, you are entitled to have 1 MP. That is not election, it's a kind of God given or something like that. It's luck. Why? My guess is that there are many people who don't agree with some party, but they are engaged in voting for the candidate of the party because of some factors. I give you the opportunity to guess. And the voter who don't want to mark any party, just mark randomly, number 1, number 2, or number 3, up to number 6. So all the 6 parties ranking by number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 won 1 seat from the party list. That is very strange. I don't know whether this happened somewhere else or not. Now, you come to the district, and you can see the discrepancies. Normally, the popularity should be reflected on the number of district seats. In fact, it's not so. The Move Forward Party won less district seats than they would have entitled to, given the 14 millions of votes they got by the party list. Why? The same applies to Ruam Thai Sat Chat Party. But if you look at the other group of parties, especially 2 parties, the Phum Chai Thai and the other one, to the lesser extent, the Palang Pracharat, those won very few percentage of popularity, party list wise, but they won a lot of district seats. Why so? So there are many factors why people choose a person rather than a party, or choose a party rather than a person. We can divide this into 2 categories. And remind you, even Chuan Lik Pai, who always talk against vote buying, admits that Move Forward Party did not buy any vote this time around. Okay, I move more quickly. How about the performance of the ECT? First, I would like to congratulate, you see, the people who work very hard on that election day. We always criticize them for their shortcomings, but we also have to acknowledge and give them some, at least, moral support. And I think, as you may acknowledge, that the report of informal results was more or less correct. There is no manipulation. However, the ECT commissioners themselves, they don't communicate. Give you an example. Coming near to the election day, they say, okay, goodbye, we are going to on a study tour. Wow, what does it mean? But in fact, it was not study tour. It's only in Thai that misled, the word in Thai misled the people, the public. So no need to study tour. In fact, they went to visit embassies to encourage and acknowledge the work of the embassy staff, you say, to provide election facilities to the Thai people living abroad. You may agree or disagree. Never mind. A serious problem did come out on the advance vote. They put ballots in envelope, and the marking of the address, you see, on the envelope was not correct sometimes. So there are a certain number of ballots we don't know to which district they belong. It's kind of lost ballot. The post office say there are a certain number, you say 100,000 or whatever. Election commission say, no, much less. We don't know exactly how many lost ballots are there. My guess is that they should count, you see, in those envelopes, the political party vote, because it doesn't belong to any particular district. However, they cannot count the district votes because they don't know which district it applies. But the difference will tell you how many lost ballots are there. And in case of some district where the difference between the winner and the next is too small, the ECT should consider some action. I will not tell them, they should consider themselves. I think that this election, as mentioned by other speakers, is the occasion to do some change or reform in our political system, and also in the dealing with some economic and social policies. I am encouraged. I discussed with my friend, you see. Some of them went to the polling station. Why? Because their daughters, you see, start telling the parents, okay, bye-bye, Papa, I'm going to the polling station, but it's closed. Why do you need to go? I need to go to observe the counting spontaneously, and they get organized among themselves. In addition to some volunteers that are not registered to the system you have. And I think this enthusiasm is very important because they care for their vote and they don't trust too much election commission. That's it. After the election, what will happen? Normal things will happen. Now 6 parties having 310 MPs, or about 62% of the total. And S is there, you see, House of Representatives, so many representatives. Now they are discussing about consolidating their policies. The next step after that should be to communicate what they are thinking, not only to the public. Moreover, they need to communicate also with the senators, because the number of the vote needed to select the next prime minister is 376 votes. They are 66 votes short. Maybe Democrat Party will vote for them, maybe some senators, but that's for sure. Some senators start complaining this and that. They don't like progressive ideas. However, I am optimistic. There are time to think over and to take appropriate action. The process cannot be started. Otherwise we are doomed. And even the conservatives, they don't like that kind of scenario. I think that young people do care for their future, not less, not more than old people like myself. And then the role of elders is not to put unsurmountable obstacles to them. It's their future, as they say, future forward. And I go to my last slide. Mr. Nukragam, who is the Deputy Prime Minister, not very much liked by my friends around. He said something the other day, 2 days ago, quoting a Thai saying that I make a very free translation. Nice work if you can get it. And you can get it if you try. Nobody of my generation remember this song anymore. I put amicably. This is in the Thai saying. If you try nicely, gently, you will get it. And this is an advice that for those who are trying to form a new government, try to take this advice, and I wish them a good success. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ajahn Kothom. I guess we are moving on to our Q&A session. We have about 15 to 20 minutes. So for those of you who want to ask questions, there's a microphone at the back of the room. Please identify yourself and say whom your question addressed to. And also, please keep it to just questions and not a long statement. Thank you. If there's no any, sure, please.
Yes, I just like to add to the election campaign. Actually, I missed a very important point, that how the election campaign that move change for the Thai politics. This is very important because I got the idea from idea. Hackathon is the method has been used in Indonesia. You told me, and Andy told me long time ago. And it has been implemented in Thailand for this election by Thai TPS. They organized a very important event that they asked the people from all networking to come together for 48 hours. Brainstorm the idea, what is the issue, what is the solution, what is the alternative public policy that the political party have to respond. They're spending 48 hours non-stop. And after that, they ask the head of the political party, the candidate, to respond the issue that led by all this, maybe more than 100 of networking of several issues, environment, from all kinds of issues, student, women, tribal disability, human rights, democracy, freedom of expression, all issues, even the military issue. And at the end, they organized the on-air kind of channel, on-air platform after. And this has been broadcasting widely 2-3 weeks before the election day. I think it's a kind of attempt that try to stimulate people to be more conscious on how they have to vote. Not for the money they are getting from, but what is the solution, what is the best policy that will affect their life. And I think we see some result from that. Just trying to add that. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Please, sir.
Peter Trainer, I'm a club member. Before the previous election in 2019, we had Kun Tanaton from the former Future Forward Party here discussing the upcoming election. And one of the comments I remember him making was he accepted that Future Forward had a lot of support from the youth of Thailand, and his advice to them was to persuade their parents and their family about the arguments about why they should vote for Future Forward and why they should vote for the change. So my question to the panel is, did that happen in this election? Obviously there was a strong youth vote supporting the Move Forward movement, but have the youth convinced their parents and their family and their relations to also vote for a radical change in Thailand? If they have, it's a good thing for Thailand because it means this election isn't just a one-off. If the youth have convinced the parents and the older generation that change is needed, then it's a permanent change and it will happen for this election, for this government and for the next government. So the question to the panel is, do they believe that there is a generational change as well as the youth impact on the Move Forward Party? Are the older generation also convinced that a structural change is needed in Thai politics?
Thank you. It's a very difficult question for observer and such, but maybe anyone who would like to take on the question?
I can let me start with this before my fellow panelists could add. The Move Forward this time is so different from the last time. Last time you could argue that most of the supporters are young and younger generations, but now I think they have one of the most demographically diverse supporters ever. If you see the Thaksin era, the divine is the regions, the north, the northeast, and the south, right? But now, if you see the party list, the second ballots, the number of the second ballots, Move Forward actually won in the north, and they also have like half of the votes in the south. In the south, the traditional stronghold of the Democrat, the traditional stronghold of the Conservative, they are now switching to the Move Forward. So what could happen? Why is this phenomenon happen? Well, I think we could make use of some scholars in the futures, but now we could say that they have kind of break that generational divide that people believe in back in the protest 2 or 3 years ago, but now it's so diverse. And my mom, she voted for Move Forward. She voted for Democrat all her life, but now she switched to Move Forward. There's a if you watch TikTok in Thai TikTok, there's a tsunami of Thai people generating their own videos about Move Forward, about they're trying to persuading their parents. There's stories on social media of people asking their parents to vote for Move Forward for their futures. Please do not vote for the uncle again. I will not survive in this country for the next 20 years if you vote for him again. There's story like that. So I think the result is pretty clear cut, and only in Thailand that a clear majority MPs could not form a government, and this is kind of normally not a democratic government.
From my point of view, I mean, I observe the people, the voter, especially the aged one, I mean, my age, people who, even the sick one, even the handicapped one, they try very hard to go to the vote. I have been talking with some of them, and I think I agree that the influence of the moving forward party, that they are targeting with the young and try the young to persuade their parents and their family, also one of the factors. But I think one of the main factors is that because people want to see the solution, people want to have a clear picture of how the future will be. And this happened because the candidate of Move Forward Party can explain very clearly. And they have many speakers who can move forward will do for the people if they get elected. Another important factor is that the people, the Move Forward Party have been working very hard for 4 years. During the parliament, during the debate,
Censure debate.
They can clearly show up. They can clearly indicate the problem of the present government, the problem of all the issues. And the response of the government at the time, I don't know, just speak out very briefly, never explain the issue that left by the opposition party during those parliament sessions. They look down, they overlook the people because there was time. If you go into the community, people are watching television, people are following the debate in the parliament for 4 years. And I think this also motivates and mobilize the people, how they look at the Move Forward Party, how consistency, how clearly that this young group of people want to help the country. I think that there are several factors. And yes, the young factor also the stronghold for this change.
Thank you. Anyone else who want to? Kunalisak, you want to say something?
ในแง่ของสื่อที่การเลือกตั้งครั้งนี้ถือว่ามีการจัดดีเบตทางโทรทัศน์ทางออนไลน์มากที่สุดจากการคุยกับ เพื่อนๆที่อยู่ในวงการเนี่ยก็ส่วนใหญ่ก็จะติดต่อเชิญตัวแทนของพรรคการเมืองมาดีเบตประมาณ10 พรรค 8-10 พรรคก้าวไกลอันนี้ต้องชมวางแผนได้ดีมากไม่เคยรับเจนไม่เคยลังเลว่าจะส่งใครมาชัดเจนแต่พรรคอื่นๆเนี่ยก็จะไม่แน่นอนว่าตกลงจะมีใครมาหรือเปล่าหรือบางทีรับปากแล้วก็ไม่มาหรือก็จะส่งแต่คนนี้มาไม่เอาคนอื่นมาอะไรอย่างเงี้ยแต่ก้าวไกลผมคิดว่ามีการวางแผนแต่ละช่องควรจะส่งใครไปเ พื่อให้เหมาะกับ audience ของมีเดียของแต่ละช่องของแต่ละออนไลน์แล้วก็คนรุ่นใหม่ที่อยู่ใน TikTok ก็เอาคอนเทนต์เหล่านี้ไปตัดต่อสั้นๆ 80% ของคอนเทนต์บน TikTok ในช่วง2 สัปดาห์ที่ผ่านมาเป็นเรื่องของก้าวไกลหมดเลยซึ่งจะต่างจากในไลน์กรุ๊ปที่ส่วนใหญ่ก็จะเป็นกลุ่มของคนที่เบบี้บูมในไลน์เพราะฉะนั้น2 แพลตฟอร์มเนี่ยก็จะต่อสู้กันไลน์ก็จะมีเต็มไปด้วยเรื่องของ Baby Boom ของ Gen X กับ Baby Boom ของ TikTok ก็จะเป็นของพวก Gen Y หรือ First Voter เป็นส่วนใหญ่ก็อันนี้ก็จะทำให้เห็นว่าการเข้าถึงแพลตฟอร์มของสื่อมันจะต่างกันมันผลต่างกัน
From a media personnel point of view, I think this general election is most organized most political debates ever. We also contacted then the media also contact 8 or 10 political parties, but I also would like to show my appreciation and to move forward parties. As far as I have heard, they never refuse an invitation to a debate, and they send diversified debaters for audience on television or online media channels. And the contents from this debate are echoed in TikTok, where young people make short clips of move forward parties, debaters, and share it on TikTok as a short video clip. And you can see in the last 2 weeks, before the election, 80% of the TikTok have been taken or dominated by the move forward parties content. Whereas in Line application, the content are mostly dominated by boomers and Gen X. So you can see 2 battlefields, Line for older generation, Gen X or boomer, and TikTok for Gen Y or first voters. And that would be my observation.
Thank you. Ajahn Kotom.
We usually divide generations. I belong to generation called silent generation, too old. And then there are baby boomers. These 2 generations form the majority of the voters. And when you get younger, you are then moving from X to from Z. I'm confused. To X, Y, Z. Okay. X, Y, Z. Then the younger are the Z generation. They are not the majority. But I guess about 80% of them vote for the future, for the change. But they are small proportion of the electorate. The majority belong to, I don't know, silent or baby boomer or Gen Z. Obviously, among the figure you have here, oh, not anymore. Sorry. 14 million vote for move forward. So 80% of Gen Z doesn't count for 14 billions. So necessarily, there are other generations who voted for move forward in this 14 billion. How about this 4.7? The conservative. I guess also a lot of them vote conservative, but not all. If all of them vote conservative, there will be a bigger figure than that. So the wind of change spread over generations, more for the young, less for the old, but still for every generations alike. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a couple of comments, actually question from our online viewers. So first from Peter Everett, Thailand speaks. Well done to all voters. Great to hear about all the hard work done in the background to ensure a democratic process. So that's a credit to all of you here. The question is from Julian Spindler. Let's cut to the chase. I guess this is to all the panelists. Let's cut to the chase. Sunday's vote represents an existential threat to the ruling elite. Will the Senate listen to the people's voice? Any one of you want to take this question? The role of the Senate and, you know, in the upcoming votes?
Well, it's the questions that we all want to know, right? And I want to know too. But let me speak this way. This is the most landslide victory in a Thai election ever. At the height of Thaksin back in 2005, that was considered the most landslide victory in Thailand. Thaksin back then won 377 seats, but for the popular vote, Thaksin won 61%. But now, if you combine, move forward, the all opposition parties, the former opposition parties, the move forward, the Pheu Thai and all the lesser parties, all the add up would be 70%. This is, as my fellow panelist says, this is a wind of change. This is the zeitgeist of this Thailand era. But for the Senate, I think we are now in a kind of like a game of chicken. You stare at me, you stare at you, and who blink first will lose, right? So the move forward insists that they have a clear majority and they should lead the coalition's government. This fact is accepted by Pheu Thai and lesser former opposition parties. But if you combine all the seats together, they would make up 310. In any democratic functioning country, we will have a government by now, right? But it's still not, but in this country, 310 seats would still not be enough to outvote the Senate, who is so like adamant against the move forward. So the move forward also made a very bold move to not invite Phum Jai Thai to the coalitions, even if doing so would mean that they could defeat the Senate. That's a sign that they kept the promise to the voters. So, but why is the game of chicken? Because why the move forward is relying on the public pressure and anger to force the Senate to vote in line with the majorities. They themselves also face pressures from not being able to form the government as like time drags on, making the prospect of having Phum Jai Thai in the coalitions more enticing for the public that do not tolerate the political vacuum. So if the senators do not blink, we might have a like kind of a stag hunt problems where different coalitions in which the move forward is not in the driving seat or isolated might emerge. So for the orange and red coalitions to succeed and democratic process respect, I think the two leading parties, the Phum Jai Thai, the Pheu Thai and the move forward must stick together and respect that principle, the principle that the winning coalition should form the government. Deviating from these principles will entail huge political cost in the next elections. If you recall Thai history, this is what happened to the democratic parties when back 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, when they refused to play by the rule and have a coalition government in a military camp. So the slump in the polls among parties that vote for Prayut has shown that the voters will punish you if you did not respect the democratic process.
Anyone else on the Senate? Okay. Any more questions at the back?
May I
Please.
add some small comments? Senate just a few days ago has issued a statement to have asking the Senate to vote for the government that has majority in the House of Representatives. However, in my own opinion, we are not going to support to have any more Senate in the next constitution, because we feel that we don't need any more Senate. The House of Representatives is sufficient enough. Why we need Senate in the future of the constitution is going to be down in one. So I myself campaign that 500 members of Parliament, House of Representatives should support the Prime Minister, the move forward party that has the name for his Prime Minister adjunct. So I believe that the member of Parliament could be the key to help mobilize, to help support, and that this could be the justification for the House of Representatives, not to depend on the Senate voice. That's my idea.
Thank you. Please, Mr.
Paul Williams, Associate Member. I was watching BBC News about a week ago when Jonathan Head was reporting on Thai election campaigns, and I was surprised to find he was allowed half a minute to talk about Thai's campaign, and as soon as he started mentioning Move Forward, it was cut off, as it often is when Jonathan Head talks about Thai politics. I talked to a few friends about this, and it sort of seemed to support, there was a rumour that Thai were going to do a deal with the then current government so that Thaksin could come back and this. My question is, do the campaign do think that rumour was true? And if so, did that cost Thai a lot of votes and helped move forward?
Thank you. So the question is about the possible Thai deal, the murky, unclear nature of this possible deal that may have cost Thai the election. Any comment from the panelists? Ajahn, please.
We don't know. Anyhow, in the other slide, you see, I show you that for two parties, they should have won 4 district seats, but they did not. It shows that they are not very keen on vote buying, if you like, by saying the Thai is balanced. And there are 2 other parties who want more district seats that they should, considering their popularity. And your guess is yours.
Okay. If there's no more question, I'm going to have my final question, because we have all here at Papajan Kotom, all 3 of you were part of this very vast network to scrutinize the vote, which is very important and arguably quite raised the standard, I guess, of elections. But of course, we now reach another phase, formation of government and so on, with the change, with the wind that has changed. We have seen in the last 20 years roles of independent agencies, whether it's the Election Commission, the Anti-Corruption Commission, the Constitutional Court, all these extrajudicial, all these extra constitutional organization and their power to kind of create deadlocks in Thai politics. How do you take this alliance of media and civil society to the next level to monitor the work of these things beyond the election? I would like to basically ask the 2 of you, media and, all of you, the media and civil society, I think ILAW is sort of doing that already in many ways. You want to go first? Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, I can go first. So one of our missions for the past 8 years is to monitor the NCPO, the military government. We document the draft constitutions back then when no one cared about the constitution, because we can speak about the referendum, we can speak about voting, rejecting the referendums. So we have been monitored all of them. One of the solutions that we know that actually let me have this story. So one of my colleagues say on the media that the ECT were appointed by the NCPO, and then the ECT put up a newsletter on their Facebook page saying that this is fake news because they come from the constitutional process, but it's a constitutional process that's drafted by the military, right? So the ECT itself came from the Legislative Assembly, which is appointed by the NCPO, and they have at least 3 voters on the ECT itself until they have their 7 board members. That happened as well with the National Anti-Corruption Missioners, happened as well with the Constitutional Courts. And in fact, at next week, 23rd of this month, the ECT will have, the Senate will hold a special sessions, because they will vote on who will become the next, who will fill the vacancy on the ECT and the anti-corruption commissioners. And you know what? These meetings, they're all secret. So there's no public records. There is no live streaming. What you know is that the final result, that who got the job and who got rejected. And given the political circumstance that we are in now, you could expect that in that meeting, in the sessions, they will talk about who vote for the prime ministers. This is a key that I think we should know, and the people of Thailand should know. And I think the way out for this is that to draft a new constitutions and wipe out all these independent agencies and create a new recruiting process that is more democratic and have more transparencies.
Thank you. Anyone else? No need. Ajahn Gautam, you want a last word, sir?
I didn't understand the question, but I will give some answer. When the wind blows, there are those who construct a wall, and others try to put up windmill or whatever to generate electricity. If the wind is too strong, it will destroy both. So be careful. We are talking about very entrenched powers that be. You cannot invent a tsunami. The tsunami will sweep everything. But we are talking about new constitution that will go on its own pace, you see. Many obstacles, many years, maybe 2 or 3 or more years to achieve that. And hopefully the new constitution will be a kind of consensus. That will be achievement for the reform. We cannot say tomorrow change come, no. That will blow out everything, including the useful one. Did I answer your question? Maybe not. Thank you.
Thank you, Kap. Oh, Ajahn. I'm sorry I didn't. Oh.
Guys, one question. I am Martin from the Swiss public broadcaster. I just wanted to ask, it's indirectly connected to the election. So say, for example, that move forward and the coalition, they can actually form a government. How difficult or how challenging is it going to be, for them to govern in this system, with the administration, civil service? Could you talk about that?
Any particular panelists you want to?
Anyone who feels like answering.
So I'm not an expert in governing, you can see, but let me say it this way. The lesson from Bangkok Governor Chachat, who is so hugely popular, but when he's in power, he faced the stagnant, extremely dubious, the Thai civil servants, the Thai bureaucracies. So that's the challenge that the new government have to overcome, is that how to manage the bureaucracies, the Thai bureaucracies, which so huge and so hugely influential. And on the legislations, I think there's still the senators, and you still have to pass the senators in order to pass any legislations. Otherwise, your bill will get stalled. Even though you could pass in the end, that will take years for any bill to materialize in the law. So the two aspects that they have to overcome. And the third one is to manage the coalitions, because you know that the gap, the discrepancies between the Move Forward and Pheu Thai is not that big. It's like 10 seats. So Pheu Thai remain very influential, and how they manage that would be crucial to the surviving fate of the new government.
Okay. One more question.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Waratida Chayapa. I'm a lecturer from Chiang Mai University School of Public Policy. So my question is a bit quite hard. I'm not sure that you can answer, but I know that everyone feels concerned about the senators at the moment, whether the senator will choose or will vote for Kun Pitha or not, right? Something like that. But I would like to ask all of you to try to think about the wild card. In public policy, we have something that we call wild card, WILDCARD, which means that something that we may think that it could not happen, but it can happen for real. And then if it happens, it can change the whole situation. There must be, or there might be someone or something that is even more powerful than senators in Thai politics. You know, so if I would kindly ask all of you, the panelists, to think about what could be the wild card for Thai politics, you know. Could you please come up with wild card, please? Yeah, that's my question.
Okay. Well, up to you guys to answer this question. Winds of change.
I will let the elder do the work here.
Guided by your question. So I think you try to incite us to say something, but I refuse to do so.
I mean, if no answer on that, there's a related question online from former Australian Ambassador to Thailand, James Wise. He said that, you know, why is there so much, is there too much focus on the senators? Shouldn't the focus be on the elected government, you know, current government, future opposition MPs, whether they support on the principle of voting to approve a PM without needing the Senate? And if they don't support that position, why so? I mean, he's just putting out that sort of provocative question. We're seeing some pressure, I guess, right now. I think the Democrats Party have spoken out. I think some of the government parties also have spoken up. Any thought from the panelists on this issue?
Well, remember that they signed up the pledge. That's all I can say.
I think the two parties, I remember covering the story, they did not turn up.
Oh, right? Most of the parties except the two.
The UTN and Palang Pracharat Party didn't turn up to the two sides.
Only two.
Yeah.
So
did not sign.
If we can have, you see, those parties who before already said that they want to stop the influence of the Senate. And this is the time to do so. But we are not forcing anyone. They can think about themselves, by themselves.
Okay, if there's no further comment, okay, Phil, please. We keep dragging on and on.
I know, you've got 8 more minutes, haven't you? Actually my question, and sorry it's so late, is actually the opposite of what Ambassador Wise just asked about, really. And it's probably for the Ajahn, as opposed to the election watchers, which is, for many of us who are, you know, even long-term residents here, but outsiders, the Senate and the Senate's political sort of inclinations is a bit of a black hole, and we just, you know, refer to them as juncture appointed, military appointed. we're seeing a few of them making comments, but I would just be very interested, and as I say, it's probably for the Ajahn, if there's any feeling about how the Senate might split and whether there are enough senators who might back a move forward per Thai coalition. Are they a monolithic bloc, or are they thinking about their futures? Are they thinking about the fact they're not going to be senators in a couple of years? Are some of them actually more liable than others to have some independent thinking and back this putative coalition? Because, you know, from the outside, I don't really have a grasp of how the Senate breaks down on that sort of issue. Thanks.
Any comments? If not, then if you want. I can also answer that. So.
Okay, to be honest, I don't know what the Senate thinks. I watched them for years, but especially when they like debate, when they have the constitutional amendment debate, I watched them for years. For the past 4 years, there has been about 6 constitutional amendments to get rid of the Senate powers to elect a prime ministers, and it failed. Everyone failed in the hand of the Senate because the constitutional amendment require at least 1/3 of the Senate to agree to, even though you have the majority of, you have 500 MPs voting in a bloc, couldn't still pass the constitutional amendment. And there has been rumors that Prayut has 100 senates, Pravit had 150, or in any numbers, and we still don't know. But we could notice that one of the senators that became quite notorious in the news in recent day, before the elections, I think he see the win, kind of. He banged on Pheu Thai. He said that he would vote with the majority. But then when the election result came out, he said that, no, I'm not going to vote for the Move Forward party. And he's trying to drive the line for the Senate and for the establishment. I think he's trying to drive the wedge between the Move Forward and Pheu Thai. And right now you're seeing right-wing media sharing Thaksin. This is unbelievable 10 years ago, but now they're so scared of Move Forward more than Pheu Thai. So you live in Thailand in a very good time to see. Move Forward won in the south, and Thaksin lost the first election, his first election ever.
I think some analysis has mentioned that they do have some split. That the Senate now not like one vote. I mean, not autonomous, not very united. And from my observation of the Senate over Senate viewpoint that they express in certain social media, and I think maybe there are 10 to 20 Senate who express that they will vote for Move Forward party. So they have certain number of Senate who will move forward. We will not see really how many that have enough numbers, but they will have some Senate support the Move Forward.
Okay. Ajahn.
All of them are supposed to be independent thinkers, as they told themselves and telling us. But you cannot read their intention only by their behavior. Up to now, they always vote on the conservative side. Maybe, as Dada once said, 20, 30, sometimes you see vote differently. On this occasion, most of them consider what is going on as a threat. But where is the red line? Is it about the situation in the Deep South? Is it about Article 112? Is it about this and that? I think we have about 2 months to discuss with them. Yes, we need to. We cannot go on this way. This is my thinking. We need to communicate and reach out. Otherwise, we are stuck. I don't know whether this is a good idea or not, but at least we should find our own way, something which is too threatening to the understanding of the conservative. we need more time to seek a, what shall I say, explanation, discussion, deliberation. We don't need to do everything at one time, you see. So one senator is fearful of this, another one is fearful of that, and we create all the opposition from all of them because we didn't address any part of their fear, of their concern. I think if we work on this, we can gain more votes than 20 or 30 that you are thinking they are ready to give.
Very well. Thank you very much, Ajahn. And if there's no more question, I would like to thank all our distinguished panelists for joining and for giving us your insights into this election, the historic election for Thailand. This kind of discussion, and not yet a member of the FCCT, please, you can apply and you can be updated about our activities. And before we leave, I want to just quickly change note and advertise for our future events. This Friday, May 19, we have a pub quiz night here at 7 p.m. So if you like pub quiz, you can do that. And on Monday, the 22nd, we have a conversation with Monaco editor Tyler Brulé, which will be very interesting indeed for those of you who are a big fan of the Monacos. And that's in the evening at 7 p.m. on Monday. So on that note, again, thank you very much for coming. And I, Panu Wongshum, former president of FCCT, would like to thank everyone and have a good evening. Thank you.